Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend after he kept pushing something I clearly said was a hard no? I don't really post on Reddit, but I've been reading AITA for a while and I think I just need to get this one out. I'm not trying to stir up drama, I just want outside perspective because some people around me are acting like I went nuclear, and I'm wondering if I really did. I, 25 female, was with my ex, 27 male, for about a year. Let's call him Matt. We met at a friend's get-together, kind of hit it off instantly. He wasn't loud or pushy, had this thoughtful, calm energy that made it easy to talk to him. We started seeing each other more, and honestly, he was good to me in the beginning. Listened when I talked, remembered little things, was patient when I took time opening up. He knew I had some stuff from my past that made certain topics hard, and he never pushed. At least at first. Now, just to give context, I went through something when I was younger. Someone I trusted did something to me when I was in no position to consent. I don't want to go into the details, I've done therapy, I've done the work, but there are things I still can't talk about casually. One of those things is a specific act that I have a hard boundary on. Not negotiable. It's not about being vanilla or prudish or whatever, it's about the association. The memory. The way it makes me feel physically sick when someone even hints at it. So, one night we're laying around, talking, and Matt brings up trying something new in bed. I didn't really think much of it, we were already pretty open about that stuff, so I just asked what he had in mind. Then he said it. The one thing I had never wanted to be part of any conversation again. I froze for a second, then told him no. Straight up no. No sugarcoating. I told him it's something I don't do and won't do. He kind of blinked and asked why not. I didn't want to get into it, but he pushed again and asked if I'd ever done it before. I hesitated and said yes, but only because it wasn't consensual. I told him I didn't want to talk about it anymore, I didn't want to think about it, and I needed him to never bring it up again. He got quiet. Said he understood. Apologized. Promised he wouldn't bring it up again. I remember thinking, okay. That could have gone worse. At least he listened. Except, he didn't. So yeah, after that conversation, I tried to move on. It sat weird with me, but he had apologized and said he got it. People mess up sometimes, right? I figured I'd explained myself clearly enough, and I really thought we were good. I didn't want to dwell on it, just wanted things to go back to normal. But less than a week later, he brought it up again. It was casual. We were sitting around, watching something dumb on Netflix, and out of nowhere he goes, "You know, I've been thinking. I really feel like it could be different if we did it right. I think I could make it feel good for you." I just stared at him. I didn't even say anything at first because I couldn't believe he was actually saying that. I had just told him this was off limits. Not just a preference, a hard no. A trigger. And here he was, pitching it to me like it was some kind of life hack. He kept going, like he thought he was being helpful. I think it could even help you move past what happened. Like, if we made it a positive experience. I froze. Full body shut down. My brain was screaming, but I couldn't even react the way I wanted to. I just went numb. When I finally spoke, I told him, again, very clearly, that I didn't want to do it. That I wasn't going to change my mind. That I had already told him not to bring it up again. And I said it just like that, not angry, not dramatic, just flat. Tired. He looked surprised. Like genuinely shocked that I wasn't suddenly convinced by his little speech. He apologized again, said he wasn't trying to upset me, just thought he was helping. That whole night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation in my head. It felt like such a small thing on the surface, but it wasn't. It was him ignoring something I had made very clear. It wasn't about the act, it was about my no not being respected. Still, I didn't leave. I don't even know why. I guess I hoped it was just a one-time slip, that he got it now, for real. Spoiler, he didn't. After that second conversation, I started seeing him differently. Not in a dramatic way, but more like this quiet shift. I didn't feel as comfortable anymore. I started pulling back a bit emotionally, even physically. He noticed, of course, and asked if something was wrong, but I just brushed it off. I wasn't ready to open up again when I'd already been so clear. The thing is, he didn't bring it up again for a while. Weeks passed. I started to relax again, started to think maybe he finally got it. Maybe the second time really was just him being dumb and not malicious. I didn't want to believe I had picked someone who could disregard me like that on purpose. Then one night, we had been intimate, and honestly, it had been a good night. It felt like a glimpse of what we used to be. Afterward, we took a shower together, just one of those quiet, kinda affectionate moments. We were standing under the water, barely talking. And then, completely casually, he said, "You know, this would be a good time to try it. You're already relaxed." I don't think I've ever sobered up so fast in my life. Like, my stomach flipped. I pulled away immediately. Didn't say a word, just got out of the shower and started drying off. My whole body felt like it wasn't mine anymore. I felt stupid for trusting him again, even a little bit. He followed me out, asking what was wrong, like he didn't already know. And I turned to him, still dripping wet, still holding a towel, and just said, "I told you. I told you never to bring it up again. You promised. Again. And here you are." He started in with the same apology speech, the same, "I didn't mean to upset you," and, I thought maybe, crap. But I cut him off and told him I was done. I said, "I'm not going to keep repeating myself like this. I can't be with someone who hears my boundaries and thinks they're up for negotiation." He looked shocked. Like truly didn't see it coming. He kept saying, "You're really going to end things over this?" Like I was the one being irrational. But in that moment, I wasn't confused anymore. I wasn't frozen or unsure. I just knew, this wasn't someone who respected me. And I wasn't going to keep teaching someone how to treat me. So I left. The breakup wasn't some big dramatic scene. I packed a small bag that night and stayed at a friend's place. I sent him a message the next day just saying I needed space and that we weren't going to keep seeing each other. He called a few times, left a voicemail or two, but I didn't respond right away. A couple days later, I finally answered one of his texts where he basically asked, "Can we please talk about this like adults?" I agreed to meet up in public just to close things off. We met at a coffee shop. He looked upset, but not like he was angry, more like he was confused and wounded, which honestly made me feel worse. He kept asking me to reconsider. Said stuff like, "This can't be the thing that breaks us," and, "I really didn't know it hurt you that much." That one got me. Like, how could you not know? I told you exactly how I felt. Multiple times. I told you why. I told you the history behind it. And you still brought it up like it was just a kink to workshop. But I didn't say all that. I just told him it wasn't about the act, it was about him ignoring something that mattered to me on a deep level. He said he was sorry again and said he wouldn't ever bring it up again, that this would be the last time. That we shouldn't throw away everything we've built just because of one mistake. But it wasn't just one. It was 3. 3 chances. 3 direct no-s. And I was tired of acting like that didn't mean something. So I told him, as gently as I could, that it was already over. I said, "Even if you never bring it up again, I'll never fully feel safe opening up to you again. And that's not something I can force back." He didn't really argue after that. Just kind of sat there, staring at his drink. Eventually, he just said, "Okay. If that's what you want." It should have ended there. But of course, it didn't. Because then came the opinions. One of my friends, someone I thought would get it, told me she thought I'd overreacted. That maybe Matt was just naive or inexperienced. She said, "He didn't actually do anything to you, though. You guys could have worked through that." And that's when I started second-guessing myself. Again. So yeah, after that talk with my friend, I spiraled a bit. I started asking myself all those crappy questions. Was I too harsh? Was it really that serious? Did I make a big deal out of something that could have been worked through? I even went back and reread some of our texts from those first few weeks we were together. He'd been sweet. Patient. Supportive when I opened up about my past. It made me feel like I'd blown up something that maybe just needed better communication. But then I'd remember how small and frozen I felt that night in the shower. Or how stunned I was when he tried to turn my trauma into some healing experience for us. And every time I thought of those moments, I remembered exactly why I left. The thing people don't always get is that it's not about the act itself. This wasn't just about what he wanted in bed. This was about someone not hearing me. Not respecting a clear, painful boundary that I didn't even owe him an explanation for in the first place, but gave anyway. He didn't cross some obvious line that would make people gasp. He didn't yell. He didn't force anything. But what he did do was chip away at my comfort. He tested the boundary after being told no. More than once. And the worst part? He thought he was doing it gently. Like that made it okay. That's what finally clicked for me. It doesn't have to be loud or aggressive to be wrong. Sometimes it's the quiet ignoring of your no that cuts the deepest. That wears you down until you feel like maybe your boundaries aren't that important after all. I didn't want to become someone who made excuses for that kind of behavior. I didn't want to stay in a relationship where I had to teach someone how to treat me like a whole person. So yeah, I ended it. And I'm not sorry. If anything, I'm proud of myself. For not dragging it out. For not waiting around for the fourth or fifth time he'd accidentally bring it up again. People can think I overreacted. That's fine. They weren't in my body when I froze. They didn't hear the way he said it, or feel what I felt when I realized he still didn't get it. I know what I felt. I know what I needed. And I know I did the right thing, for me. So no, I'm not the a-hole. Not even a little bit.